Kai's shuttle crashed harder than he expected. Smoke rose from the broken engine as sparks flew across the wrecked metal. The air smelled strange, like burnt copper and flowers. He coughed, pulled off his helmet, and looked around. This was not Earth. It wasn't even on the map. He stood slowly, wincing at the pain in his side. A few bruises, but nothing broken. The sky above was deep purple with two suns glowing low on the horizon. Alien trees with glowing blue leaves surrounded the crash site. But what caught his attention wasn't the plants or even the sky. It was her. A few meters away by a quiet, glowing lake sat a girl, not human. She had pale silver skin, long white hair, and glowing purple eyes that didn't blink. She wore a strange robe that shimmered like water. She didn't move. She didn't speak. But she was staring at him, watching. Kai raised his hand slowly. "Hey, do you understand me?" No answer. He took a careful step forward. Still, she didn't move. But then, something strange happened. His chest tightened. He felt a wave of sadness, but it wasn't his. Then came fear, loneliness, curiosity, all at once. The feelings weren't his, but he felt them inside his own head. He gasped and stumbled backward. The girl tilted her head slightly, still silent, but her eyes stayed locked with his, and then he heard a voice. Not with his ears, but inside his mind. "You crashed, you are afraid." Kai blinked. "What? How are you?" Again, the voice echoed gently in his thoughts. "I am Lunari. I do not speak. I feel. You are human. You feel loudly." He didn't know what to say. She was in his head, but there were no machines, no translator, just thoughts. Kai held his head confused. "Wait, are you reading my mind?" "No, I am sharing. This is how my kind speak, through mental connection." He looked at her again. Lunari. She still hadn't moved a single step, yet he could feel her thoughts like whispers in his mind. Kai stepped closer, this time with less fear. "I've never heard of your kind before. Few have. My people stay away from noise, from pain, from violence. You are loud, but not dangerous." He gave a small laugh. Loud is one way to describe humans. Lunari stood up slowly. Her movements were graceful, like she floated instead of walked. She stepped toward him, eyes calm but full of strange energy. "Your mind is open. That is rare." Kai felt a warm wave inside his chest. Was she praising him? It felt good. It felt deep. "I can show you, I can teach you, but it will be painful." He frowned. Painful? To open your mind fully is like burning and freezing at the same time. But once done, you will never be alone again. Kai hesitated. He was stranded on a strange world, alone, surrounded by alien wildlife, and this strange girl was offering him something that felt both terrifying and comforting. "What do I have to do?" he asked. She stepped closer, so close now he could feel her energy like heat. "Nothing, just look into my eyes and feel." Kai did. And then his world changed. In one blink, memories flashed before his eyes, but they weren't his. He saw Lunari as a child, running through glowing forests, laughing. He saw her hiding in fear as black ships flew above her world. He saw her cry when her own people left her behind, and then he felt her heart, not just beating, but breaking. She was lonely, so deeply lonely that it felt like drowning. Kai dropped to his knees, gasping. His body was shaking. His hands were cold. But his eyes were wide with wonder. "I saw everything." Lunari knelt beside him. "You are the first human I've touched like this, and you didn't break." Kai looked at her, eyes full of questions. What is this? What are we doing? We are starting a bond. We are building mental intimacy. You learn fast. Too fast. Kai didn't know whether to feel proud or afraid. You should rest, Lunari said softly in his mind. There is more. Much more. But tonight, just sleep. I will guard your thoughts. And without touching him, without moving her lips, she gave him peace. Kai fell asleep under alien stars, while an alien girl guarded not just his body, but his mind. When Kai woke up, the sky had changed. It was no longer purple. It was silver, with tiny white clouds floating low like cotton. The crash site still lay behind him, but the broken metal didn't matter anymore. His mind felt different, clear, but heavy, like he had lived two lives. Lunari sat by the lake again, her back to him. This time, her feet were dipped in the glowing water. She didn't turn around, but he felt her in his thoughts the moment he opened his eyes. You dreamed of my memories, she whispered into his mind. You cried in your sleep. Kai sat up, confused but calm. It felt too real. Because it was. He stood and slowly walked to her side. So what happens now? She turned to look at him finally, her silver hair blowing gently in the windless air. Her eyes weren't just glowing, they swirled, like stars trapped in water. Now we begin the real bond, if you wish. Kai blinked. Wasn't that last night real? It was the door. Now you must step through it. Kai hesitated. What does that mean exactly? Lunari placed a hand over her chest. We will share thoughts, but also truth. Not just memories, but desires. Not just images, but feelings we hide, even from ourselves. He laughed nervously. That sounds like a deep therapy session. Lunari tilted her head. A pause. Then a strange emotion touched his mind. Amusement. Was she laughing? Mentally? We call it mental intimacy. Your kind touches skin. We touch spirit. Kai stared at her. Why me? Why are you teaching me this? She looked away and her voice inside him softened. Because you survived the first bond. Because your mind didn't collapse and because I am alone. And so are you. That last sentence hit deeper than he expected. She was right. Even before the crash, he was just drifting. Between jobs, between places, between people. I will guide you slowly, but you must trust me, she said. Kai nodded. Okay, teach me. Lunari raised her hand, not to touch him, but to invite him to sit. He did. She closed her eyes, and so did he. Then it began. At first it was gentle. He felt a breeze, one that didn't touch his skin, but moved inside his chest. It stirred thoughts he didn't want to think, childhood pain, guilt, heartbreak. All floating to the surface. Lunari didn't judge. She held them in her mind like they were precious. Then he felt her. Her memories were cold and quiet. She was born into a family that spoke through silence. Love was taught through thought sharing. Punishment was mental silence. Loneliness was a kind of death. Kai reached toward her mentally, unsure of how, but she pulled him in deeper. Now he wasn't just seeing her past, he was feeling her now. Her hand trembled in the air, not physically, but inside the space they shared. She was scared. Kai, without thinking, sent a warm memory back to her. His father building a treehouse, the sound of laughter, the smell of fresh-cut wood. Lunari gasped, her mental voice cracked. You shared without being asked. Was that bad? He asked. No, it was beautiful, he smiled. Then I guess humans are fast learners. Lunari looked at him with wonder. For the first time, he felt her emotions flood. Shock, respect, something close to admiration. Maybe even fear? You should not be this strong. Not so soon. Kai frowned. I didn't mean to scare you. You did not scare me, you surprised me. Humans feel deeply. You carry pain like fuel. That is dangerous and powerful. Suddenly, the connection snapped. Kai gasped as the cold air returned. It felt like his mind had been unplugged. The loss was sharp. Lunari pulled back, breathing fast. We must stop. For now. Why? If we go deeper without control, we may lose who we are. We could become mixed. Kai nodded slowly. He didn't fully understand, but he felt the danger. She stood up, then offered him a hand. Come. There is a cave nearby. You will need rest. Your mind needs to cool. He took her hand, and for a moment, their skin touched. No thoughts? No sharing, just warmth. He realized something in that moment. Physical touch meant nothing to her. But for him, even that small gesture meant everything. As they walked together into the alien forest, side by side, he knew this was more than survival now. This was a connection no human had ever known. And something inside him whispered, You are not just learning her world. You are becoming a part of it. The cave was warm and quiet. Small glowing crystals lined the walls, lighting the space in soft green and blue hues. Kai sat near a flat stone, trying to calm his racing heart. Lunari sat across from him, her legs crossed, her glowing eyes steady. She hadn't spoken, not with her mind or voice, for over an hour, but he knew she was watching him, watching his mind. You are stable now, her thoughts finally whispered. We can begin again. Kai exhaled slowly. Last time nearly broke me. Because you opened your mind all at once. This time I will guide you properly. He looked at her carefully. You seem different today. Because I am afraid? That surprised him. You learn too quickly, she explained. Your mind responds to my kind's connection faster than expected. That has never happened before. Kai tried to joke. Maybe I'm just special. Or dangerous. The cave suddenly felt colder. Lunari stood and raised both hands in front of her chest. This next step is deeper. You will not see my memories, you will feel your own, but raw, without walls. Kai hesitated. That sounds intense. It is. She walked to him slowly, stopping just inches away. Humans hide too much. Behind words, we use none. Our honesty is pure. Painful, yes, but it cleans the soul. She placed one hand over his forehead. No touch, just hovering. Close your eyes. Open your thoughts. I will be your anchor. Kai obeyed. Then the storm began. It wasn't like the last time. He wasn't falling into her. He was sinking into himself. But there were no memories, no clear images, just emotions, anger, guilt, grief. He was a child again, watching his mother walk out of the house, suitcase in hand. His father, sitting on the porch, smoking in silence. No goodbye. Then he was a teenager, hiding in the school bathroom, fists clenched, bruised from a fight he didn't start but finished. Then a young man sitting in a dark room after his brother's funeral, holding a letter he never sent. The emotions came like waves. Drowning him, he gasped. Make it stop. But Lunari's voice in his mind was soft. Do not run. Let it wash through you. You cannot hide from what you are. He clenched his fists. Why are you doing this? Because before I show you my soul, you must see your own. Kai dropped to his knees. The pain was too much. But then, something shifted. A warmth pushed back the cold. It wasn't Lunari. It was himself. For the first time, he didn't fight the pain. He accepted it. And in that moment, the pressure inside his mind exploded. Not outward, but inward, like a door, unlocked. His body shook. He felt everything. His life, his hopes, his rage, his joy, all at once. He opened his eyes and gasped for air. Lunari stood still, her expression unreadable. You did it. Kai blinked. What did I do? You accessed the inner gate of your mind, the part most beings take years to find. He looked down at his hands. Why does it feel like I just died? Because you let go of the person you were. Now, you are someone new. Later, they sat near the cave entrance, watching the twin suns begin to rise. Kai drank from a clear mineral stream, his hands still trembling. I saw things I didn't know I was holding inside me, he said. That is why most avoid mental intimacy. It strips you bare. He looked at her. What happens next? Lunari turned to him, her eyes serious. Now you will enter my mind, but not like before. You will not just feel what I show you. You will see what I hide. Kai stiffened. You mean your secrets? Yes, and some may hurt you. Some may change you. Kai nodded slowly. Then I want to know. Why? Because you trusted me with your way of life. Now I want to trust you with mine. Lunari looked at him in silence. Then she did something strange. She reached out and touched his hand. Not mentally, physically. Her skin was cool, soft, and trembling slightly. You are the first human I've touched, she whispered into his thoughts. And the first one who touched my soul. Kai felt something stir inside him. Not desire, not fear, but a connection deeper than either. Not of the body, but of the mind. And as the sun rose fully over the alien trees, one truth became clear. He was no longer just a student. He was something far more dangerous and far more intimate. The cave walls trembled, not from an earthquake, but from something happening inside Kai's mind. He sat across from Lunari, their hands nearly touching, eyes locked. The moment had come. This time she would not hold anything back. You are ready, Lunari said through the mental thread. Kai's voice was steady. What if I see something I can't handle? Then I will break the bond, but I don't think I'll need to. She closed her eyes. He followed. Silence. Then, impact. Suddenly, he was inside a memory that wasn't his. It wasn't soft. It was brutal. Screaming. Alien soldiers burning forests, creatures howling as they were hunted down. And in the middle of it, Lunari. Not the calm, glowing girl from the cave. This Lunari wore black armor, her eyes glowing like fire, her thoughts screaming like thunder. She was leading an army. Not protecting, but attacking. Her people were fighting not for peace, but domination. Kai's breath caught in his throat. This isn't what I expected. Lunari's mental voice echoed, distant, raw. This is the truth. My past. The part I never share. He saw more, an alien child begging for mercy, Lunari hesitating, then obeying her commander and striking the child down with a mental shock. Pain surged through Kai's mind. He wanted to pull back. No, Lunari whispered. Stay with me. I want you to see it all, even the parts that make me a monster. Kai pushed forward. Now he saw her breaking. Years later, standing alone under a dead sky, her own people turning against her, not for what she did, but for what she felt. She had begun to regret. She had begun to feel too much. Her kind feared that, so they exiled her, alone, forgotten. And that's when Kai realized something. Lunari wasn't just a wanderer. She was a weapon they threw away. Kai snapped out of the memory, gasping. Sweat poured down his face, his hands trembled. But he didn't let go. Why did you show me this? He asked aloud. Lunari's voice was small now. Because you needed to know who I really am. I killed. I followed orders. I destroyed lives. And now I ask you, do you still want to be connected to me? Kai stood up slowly. His head ached, but his heart, his mind, felt strangely calm. He walked to her, knelt beside her and said, "Yes." Lunari looked at him confused. "Even after what I've shown you?" He nodded. "Because I saw more than what you did. I saw the moment you began to feel guilt. And guilt means change. You didn't stay the monster. You broke free." Her glowing eyes filled with something new, not just emotion, but hope. She reached out again, placing her hand on his chest, and for the first time, he felt her mind soften. She let him in. Not to memories this time, but to her present self. The bond deepened. Kai wasn't just seeing anymore, he was feeling her heartbeat. He was hearing her thoughts before she shaped them, and she was inside him too, seeing his dreams, his wishes, his memories of Earth. He didn't know where his thoughts ended and hers began. "We are crossing the line," she whispered. "If we go deeper, we may merge. Not permanently, but dangerously close." Kai whispered, "What's beyond that line?" "We become a mental fusion. Shared thoughts, shared pain, shared strength. Most minds break before it happens. You don't have to go further." He stared into her glowing eyes, then said quietly, "Let's find out what happens when two broken people collide." The cave shook again, but not from physical force. This was a mental quake. The crystals along the walls dimmed. Kai's skin glowed faintly. Lunari's hair lifted like it was underwater. Thoughts spun between them like a storm. Pain, joy, secrets, dreams, regret, and through it all, one thought held strong: trust. When the bond finally faded, they collapsed in silence. No words, just breathing. Kai sat up first, dizzy but smiling. Lunari lay beside him, her eyes half open, her face calm. He whispered, "I saw you," she whispered back, "I saw us." Then the sky outside flashed, a warning. Ships coming fast. Lunari's expression turned sharp. "They found us." Kai stood, wiping his face. "Your people?" "No, worse, the hive." His heart raced. "What's the hive?" "Creatures that don't feel. They feed on feelings." She looked at him with urgency. "And now they've sensed us." The hive was coming. Lunari could feel them long before Kai heard anything. She stood at the edge of the cave, her body stiff, eyes glowing, brighter than before. The sky outside had turned a deep red, and the air buzzed with invisible energy. Something terrible was getting closer. "They are near," Lunari whispered in his mind. "They feed on thought, and now they've tasted ours." Kai stood beside her, confused and afraid. "What are they? Machines? Creatures?" "Both, and neither. The hive has no shape, no voice. It is a storm of empty minds, hollow thoughts crawling across space. They find strong minds and consume them." Kai clenched his fists. "So we run?" Lunari shook her head slowly. "They've already touched my signal. My mind was too open. They will follow us anywhere." He looked at her carefully. "Then we fight." She turned, shocked. "You do not understand. The hive doesn't fight with weapons. They fight with emotion. They send your worst thoughts back at you, twisting your fears into chains. That's how they feed." Kai nodded slowly. "Then we give them something they've never tasted before." Lunari blinked. "What?" He looked at her and said one word: "Hope." They returned deeper into the cave. Lunari drew strange shapes on the ground with glowing powder, symbols from her people's forgotten language, runes for defense, protection, and memory. As she worked, she spoke into his mind, softer now. "There's something I never told you, something about your mind." Kai paused. "What is it?" "You're not just strong, you're rare." He frowned. "Rare how?" Human minds aren't built like mine. You build walls, stories, beliefs. All this keeps your thoughts safe. But somehow, your mind invited me. It welcomed the connection like a missing piece. That kind of openness doesn't come from training. It comes from being broken. Kai was silent. He thought of his family, his regrets, the silence of his past life. Maybe she was right. Maybe the cracks in his soul made room for something more powerful. And now, Lunari added, you may be the only one who can reach into the hive and hurt it. They sat together again, closer than ever, their minds connected, not softly like before, but in full synchronization. This time, Lunari didn't guide the bond. Kai did. He dove deep, past memory, past pain, into something, raw and glowing, and suddenly, he wasn't just in her thoughts, he was in her soul. He saw a secret memory, hidden, locked away even from herself. A hidden lab, alien scientists watching a child Lunari, testing her thoughts. She wasn't just another Nothel child. She was designed, created, to be the strongest mental weapon of her kind. She didn't know it. She was programmed to forget. Until now. What is this? Lunari gasped. Kai's voice echoed inside her. This is who you are. No, I was just a soldier. Just a mind caster. No, you were made for something else. Something dangerous. Something powerful. Suddenly the cave trembled again. The hive had arrived. They rushed outside. A dark fog covered the trees, rolling toward them like smoke, but alive. In the middle of the storm, voices, not from mouths, but inside their heads. Whispers, doubts, fear. You are nothing. You are broken. You will die alone. Kai screamed, holding his head. Lunari staggered back, her knees hitting the dirt. But then, Kai pushed forward. He remembered what she taught him. Feel. Do not fear. Face the thought. Shape it. He turned to Lunari, grabbed her hand, and whispered, "Let me in one last time." She nodded. Their minds fused, and then they pushed back. Instead of fear, they sent joy. Instead of sorrow, they poured forgiveness. Memories of laughter, of love, of human songs and alien stars. The hive recoiled. The fog twisted violently. This is not food. This burn. What is this? Kai shouted with his thoughts. This is hope. The sky cracked. The hive screamed. A soundless thunder of pain, and then silence. The fog broke. The trees stood still. The sky turned gold. The hive was gone. Lunari collapsed into Kai's arms, breathless. You did it. He shook his head. We did. She looked up at him, eyes wide. No one has ever hurt the hive before. You didn't just resist them. You made them feel something they've never felt. You made them afraid. As they sat in silence, watching the suns rise once more, Kai turned to her. So what now? She smiled, faint but real. Now, the galaxy will come searching. For you. And they'll ask the same question I did. How is a human this good at mental intimacy? The forest had gone quiet. Not peaceful. Silent like it was holding its breath. Kai and Lunari stood at the center of a burnt clearing, surrounded by blackened trees. The hive had vanished, but not completely. Lunari could still feel traces of them, thin, cold threads of thought brushing against her mind. They retreated, she said, voice inside his head. But not far. They are regrouping, learning. Kai wiped sweat from his face. His mind still buzzed like a broken radio. We scared them once, we can do it again. Lunari stepped closer. Her expression wasn't calm, it was tense. No, the hive never retreats twice. They will return with something stronger. A storm that crushes thought. If we face them again, we won't survive the same way. Kai nodded. Then we don't fight them the same way. That night, they Camped beneath the glowing branches of the crystal woods, Kai stared at the alien stars. How do they even exist? He asked. A species that eats thoughts? Lunari lay beside him, her voice soft in his mind. They began as parasites, long ago, feeding on the brainwaves of weak species. But they learned to adapt. Now they hunt strong minds, people like me, and you. He laughed bitterly. Lucky me. They will come as one massive thought, not a creature, not a fleet, but a storm of minds. If we are not perfectly bonded when it happens, we'll both shatter. Kai turned to her. Then bond with me, fully. She looked at him sharply. Do you know what that means? I do now, he whispered. No secrets, no walls, just us. One thought, one soul. You may never be the same, she warned. You may carry my pain forever. I may carry yours. Kai smiled gently. I'd rather carry your pain than live alone in my own. The next morning, the sky cracked, literally. A tear of black opened across the sky like a wound. From it, the hive descended, not as fog this time, but as light, twisting, pulsing beams of color and sound. Thousands of mental voices screamed across the air. Lunari staggered back. This is it, the telepathic storm. Kai gritted his teeth. Then, let's meet it together. They reached out, hands touched, and minds fused. The bond wasn't soft, it was fire. Their thoughts snapped together like magnets slamming shut. There were no more barriers, no more Kai, no more Lunari, just one combined being of memory, emotion, and will. They rose into the air, literally. The fusion of their thoughts lifted their bodies off the ground, surrounded by glowing energy. From the sky, the hive screamed again. Two minds, one core, unacceptable. Separate them, but the bond held. Together, they pushed back. Inside their shared mind, they created a battlefield, not physical but mental, a floating realm of light and memory. The hive appeared as shifting shapes, faces of people they feared, echoes of mistakes they made. Kai saw his mother walk away again. Lunari saw herself in black armor, eyes empty, but they held each other in thought. They shared strength. They pulled joy from their past. Laughter, friendship. That moment under the stars, they turned emotion into weapons. Hope became a sword. Love became a shield. Forgiveness became fire, and they burned the hive with it. The hive fought back harder. You are not allowed to feel this much. You break the balance. You must be erased. But it was too late. Kai and Lunari had become something new, not just bonded minds, but a new kind of being. Human passion, plus alien discipline. Thought storm, they unleashed it. A blast of light, color, and emotion flooded the storm. The hive screamed one last time. And scattered. Gone. Not dead, but shattered into pieces that would take centuries to reform. The battle ended. The sky cleared. Kai and Lunari collapsed together on the ground. Their bodies separate, but their thoughts still gently linked. You did it, Lunari whispered. Kai smiled weakly. No, we did. She turned to him. You understand now, don't you? He nodded. Yeah. Mental intimacy isn't just about sharing feelings. It's about trusting someone enough and to let them change you. Lunari's glowing eyes softened. You didn't just survive the bond, Kai. You completed it. Now we're something the galaxy has never seen. As they lay beneath the calm stars, something new began to bloom between them. Not just connection, but unity. And somewhere in the stars, others were watching. Because now, the hive wasn't the only thing to fear. The galaxy had a new force rising, two minds, one soul, a storm, born from love. The hive was gone. But the silence it left behind was not peaceful. It was deep, heavy, like the galaxy had paused to understand what just happened. Kai and Lunari lay in the middle of a glowing crater, scorched by mental energy, yet blooming with new alien flowers where their bodies had touched the ground. The storm had ended, but their connection hadn't. Not fully. Their thoughts still brushed like fingertips in the dark. "Are you still there?" Kai whispered into her mind. "I am," Lunari answered softly. But something was different now. Their mental voices were no longer echoing across a distance. There was no distance left between them. Kai stood slowly. His body ached, but his heart felt alive. More than ever. Lunari rose beside him. She looked almost human now, so calm, so soft, so connected. Her glowing eyes had dimmed slightly, no longer weapons, but windows. "We passed the final threshold," she said. "There's no going back." Kai nodded. "I don't want to go back." "You're not fully human anymore," she added. "And I'm no longer what my people made me." They looked at each other, both changed forever. Neither human nor alien. Something new. From above, a ship descended. It wasn't Hive. It was silver. Smooth. Quiet. Lunari turned, her thoughts sharp again. My people, the Nothel, they felt the battle. They come not to punish, but to witness. The ship landed. A group of tall, silver-skinned beings stepped out, graceful, expressionless, minds linked in perfect unity. They saw Lunari, then saw Kai. And for a moment, nothing, not anger, not fear, just awe. "This is the human," one of them asked, voice felt, not heard. "This is the one who matched a Nothel's mind and survived." Lunari stepped forward. She didn't bow. She didn't break. He didn't just survive. He bonded with me fully. And together, we broke the hive. The elder among them studied Kai. "You have done something no one has done before. You reached into a mind like ours, and did not lose yourself." Kai shrugged, smiling. "She taught me how." "No," Lunari said firmly. He felt his way through. Humans don't learn our way, they recreate it. And sometimes, they improve it. A long pause. Then something shocking happened. The Nothel elder bowed his head, not to Lunari, to Kai. "You have become one of us, and something beyond. We will not interfere. But beware. There are others who watch the hive fall, and they will come looking, not to learn, but to control." Kai looked up at the stars. "Let them come." That night, beneath the alien moons, Kai and Lunari sat together again by the glowing lake where it all began. But this time, there were no questions between them. No walls. Just oneness. Lunari rested her head on his shoulder. Something she once said had no meaning among her kind. Now it meant everything. "You broke something in me, Kai," she said. "Not in a bad way. You broke the silence I was raised to live in. And you replaced it with noise. Beautiful, messy, human noise," he smiled. "You gave me quiet, not emptiness, but peace, the kind I didn't know I needed." She touched his face gently. "So what are we now?" Kai looked up at the stars. Not lovers, not soulmates, not even just allies. We're something the galaxy has no word for. "Then maybe we should make a new one," she whispered. They sat in silence again, but this time it was a shared silence, a silence filled with meaning, with trust, with mental intimacy, the purest kind. Far across the galaxy, hidden in shadows, 100 alien eyes watched the sky tremble. They had seen what happened, they had felt the hive die, and they feared what was coming, not a weapon, not a fleet, but a bond, a human and an alien, together, not just surviving, but evolving.